Hello, everyone. Welcome to our next session of Meet the Members of Empower Africa. I'm excited and honored to host this terrific podcast. My name is Shai Bernstein. I'm VP of Business Development and Partnerships in Empower Africa. We're going to have more and more of these now as our business community is growing and growing. And I'm very excited. Before I present our distinguished guest, I want to make sure that, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, Empower Africa is a business community with a mission to drive investment, trade, and job creation in Africa. We believe in trade over aid and that business is the best way to grow, build, and create sustainable and scalable solutions. We believe in bringing good people together. We believe in the power of synergy. And our goal is to create connections, optimize communication, and maximize the collaboration. Our business community brings together entrepreneurs and SMEs, investors, banks, PEs, VCs, governments, multinational enterprises, nonprofits, all to one table so that we can enhance the collaboration and communication. Speaking of bringing good people together, it's my pleasure and honor to welcome Ben Haklai, Regional Corporate Counsel of Middle East and Africa Headquarters at Microsoft. Ben, thank you for joining us.
Hey, Shai, how are you? It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, I'm doing great. It's a pleasure to have you here. And please tell us a bit about yourself.
So just in a few words, I was born and raised in Israel. I grew up in a neighborhood called Savion and, happily married for, I think, more than 15 years, 3 kids, 12, 10, and 5. With family always coming first. So with that out of the way, I can also share a bit about my career. That's where we're going.
Yeah, please.
Sure. So, generally, from a young age, I've always been connected to technology, from the very first, Packard Bell kind of computers that landed in my house and I dabbled with. But for some reason, like go figure, I decided to study law with an emphasis on technology and what comes with it. I think the goal was to be more with people and less with, just computers. So I think that was the main goal. And, prior to starting law school, I also decided to take, my technology background a step forward. And I learned a professional degree called MCSC, which is a networking kind of, background. And during my law school, I actually worked in network management within the university.
Wow.
So that was interesting. I finished my LLB and LLM in Tel Aviv University. From there, internship, I was an attorney in a firm called AYR, a relatively large Israeli firm. Then became a partner in the firm, joined Microsoft in 2016.
Wow.
And then I had a few roles in Microsoft until where I am today. I can also tell you I dabbled with entrepreneurship. I've been part of 2 startups. One is still very much alive and kicking.
Yeah.
The other didn't succeed as much. So I think that kind of sums it up, more or less.
Wonderful. And in one of our conversations, you also mentioned you have some experience dabbling with Africa as well, right?
Yeah, so even prior to joining Microsoft in-house, I've worked with Microsoft and its regional headquarters for MEA, which is, again, Middle East and Africa. And I've been involved in several programs that, under Microsoft had fell under a program called For Africa. And besides that, I also did some sort of, let's call it consulting work in Africa around, again, technology projects. So I think the 2 kind of revolved always around technology, making technology accessible, trying to, train and help individuals and organizations to get more familiar with more advanced tech. In recent years, it's been more around AI, those areas. Before that was cybersecurity, and, trying to kind of bring the 2 worlds of Israel being very unique, being Israel in those areas, and on the other side, obviously, Microsoft is a world leader. So in several occasions, I had the pleasure and opportunity in different parts of the continent to drive some presentations, trainings, those types of things.
Right.
So
fantastic.
Kenya, South Africa, those areas. So it was a pleasure. The one thing I can tell you is that honestly, I just don't know enough about Africa. I'm always happy to learn, and it's such an exciting place to do more in and to learn more about. So that's
A
always
hundred
been the
percent.
driver.
A
Yeah,
100%, and that's why we're here. I mean, the whole concept of Empower Africa, as you know, is really to enhance also more of that positive awareness on the continent. And what I mean is, of course, the first just notion that it's not a country, but rather a continent with 54 countries.
right.
And we know, both of us, that there's so much of the tech world, both in the Israeli ecosystem, in SF, London, New York, that people just aren't aware of the huge potential that exists in Africa today already, and especially in the tech environment. And so, as I mentioned to you, we have a number of different events that we're doing, to create more of that connectivity and just collaboration between different tech companies, investors, entrepreneurs, and so on. So that's fantastic. So in terms of Ben and Microsoft being part of the Empower Africa business community, and in general, right? Who would you like to connect with within the business community or in general?
So I think anyone that is interested in doing more in technology in Africa, I think all of that is absolutely of extreme interest to me. I
Right.
think that those connections, and eventually what I've learned through the years, that all good things happen through people connecting and thinking outside the box about how to
Amen.
do more and how to bring more value all up. So I think that anything of that sort would be of very very or would be very very interesting to me to hear more, to connect with people, to see which areas I can bring more value in and
Right.
try to be helpful. So absolutely super excited
Fantastic.
about all you said. Yeah.
Great, great. That's fantastic, and amen to that. I mean, just the it's always like that, right? Things happen. I
Absolutely.
I guess all things, when you think about it, right? I mean, things move and things are created when people get together, when people are introduced to each other, when people connect either physically or even virtually and say, hey, I'm doing this, let's collaborate, let's do things together, right? And so
Yeah.
yeah, I totally agree with that. And yeah, we're super excited. I'm also super excited to meet you in person for the first time in our in-person
In
event,
person.
in
Yeah.
person event tomorrow. Yeah, and so as I ask all of our guests, please share with us a quote or saying that you resonate with and that you like, please.
Yeah, so I think it very much connects to what we just discussed. And the quote is from Maya Angelou, who was an African American poet, writer, and civil rights activist, obviously in the US. And the quote goes, I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Now,
Mm-mm.
obviously, that quote comes from a background that doesn't, connect absolutely to what we're discussing, but it resonates with me and touches all areas of life that I had the chance or privilege to engage in. And I think that obviously at the end of the day, that connection between people and how you make them feel is the best way to start a relationship, and the best things happen from that. So that will be my 2 cents.
Wow. Wow. Thank you. Thank you. I love that quote. It's such a good quote and so true. And before we end, I just now I'm thinking about it as you shared it with me, that it actually encompasses the whole Kahneman and Tversky, the whole concept of the irrationality. I mean, you see top-notch business people sitting together for a meeting, talking about a merger, an acquisition, a business transaction, and you have all the numbers, and people did all the right things, but at the end, there's something that doesn't fit in, right? You just don't feel it. And I'm connecting it to what she said about, the feeling. And in most cases, it just doesn't happen. And so the feeling is just really so powerful. Wow. Great.
Absolutely.
Thank you for that, Ben. That was wonderful. Okay.
Pleasure.
Ben, thank you for joining us. Pleasure to have you here. And look forward to seeing you tomorrow and continuing discussing different collaborations. And yeah, stay safe and healthy.
Thank you, Shai. Take care. We'll catch up tomorrow.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.